I think we are all committed to the idea that if people bring spiritual issues, which I think often are existential issues in their lives, it may be very direct issues with their religious faith, or it may be something that they can't even describe as being religious, but it's clear that it's more than a psychological problem. There's something about their very identity, who they are, what their meaning is in the universe, what the meaning of their life is, that we're all committed to being open to discussing and exploring those issues.
Insofar as PSI can actualize being an institute that reaches out to young therapists and brings them into a dialogue about the nature of their work and furthers that work and deepens that work over time, that's a training that I don't think people are getting adequately today. And it right now it's not a formal training program as an institute, but its institute function is crucial in the current staffing, and the invitation to young therapists to be a part of this institute is a way to recognize that training is ongoing throughout life, and that we really have to have that with each other, or the work will die.
I'm very excited about where we are right now. And there's a kind of a new energy, I think, in our staff today. And I think a major event was when, I believe it was in 2010, when Alan Youngblood and Kathleen Kelly, who were then staff members, became co-executive directors. And this was two staff members evolving into that role. And they brought a kind of new perspective, which I think has changed this whole organization. And then Alan left, and now Kathleen, the last few years, has been doing the job. And I think that what she has brought has been incredible in terms of, I've never seen a better feeling, a mood among the staff. I think the staff really feel that there's not a kind of a hierarchical thing here. We are inviting members of staff to be involved in administrative ways increasingly. And we have expanded the kinds of things we are doing. When Mary Ragan brought on the program of In Our Own Voice, that was a major change.
One of the things that PSI has been responsible for and shepherding over the last several years is a theater piece. It's called In Our Own Voice, Women Veterans Tell Their Story. And this came out of a recognition on the part of our staff. This goes way back, 2005, 2006, when the Iraq War was at its height. Every day we read something in the newspaper about the mental health needs of returning veterans coming home from Iraq and Afghanistan. And as a staff, we said, this is our profession. This is what we do. We need to respond. As it turned out, over a long evolution, the way that we ended up responding was by collaborating with a playwright whose name is Beverly Coyle to interview over 25 women veterans to get their stories, to hear what it was that they experienced as women in the military. We had those stories transcribed. Beverly crafted monologues out of those stories, and from there created a theater piece. And that piece has been performed. It's 4 actors, 4 stools, 4 microphones, really low budget, low tech. And it's been performed in libraries and universities. It's been performed in colleges. It has traveled to the U.S. Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. And after the monologues are performed, we have a talk back with the audience. The actors leave the stage and women veterans take the stage. One of our pastoral counselors facilitates that dialogue between the women veterans and the audience. And it's an attempt on our part to try to narrow the gap between the veteran and the civilian worlds.
You know, we have the gift of having 4 sponsoring congregations. Historically, we've emerged from the pastoral counseling movement, but there's a forward momentum to it. And, you know, our sponsoring congregations have given us permission to kind of step into the future in a way that is more improvisational and less structured. But I think what's been meaningful for me also about being in PSI settings is that there is a history, there is a groundedness, there is a rootedness. And I know in terms of having my own spiritual practice that that's been grounding for me. And I encourage my clients to have spiritual practices because I trust that those will be similarly grounding for them. I don't know how closely their spiritual practices are going to resemble mine. But I think for us to be in those sort of sacred spaces, like in those church courtyards, reminds people that contemplative spaces still exist, that there is the meditative moment. And if people, have ever had church membership or not, just kind of connecting with that idea of this is where something holy can happen, or this is where something divine can break through, like that feels enlivening to them, like that feels kind of promising. I'm really excited about the next generation of practitioners and the generations after that, because I feel like they'll have permission to be inventive. I've probably had more permission to be inventive, certainly than women previously in this field. And so I'm grateful for that. And I think what we all want, we want for our clients and what we want for practitioners is that kind of liberation, that sense of freedom, right? That, you can be fully yourself and have the world meet that, recognize it, and validate it. Because that diversity is not something to be tolerated, that diversity is necessary, and that diversity is also, by cosmic design. Like, the world needs a lot of different types of us. It needs a lot of different types of therapists and counseling centers and clients. And God is good and gave us all of them. So I'm feeling very optimistic about the future, and also very curious. Like, I'm looking forward to what's coming. I don't know what it is, but I have a sense that it's something good.